Missionaries at my door explained women aren't supposed to wear slacks. And we can read it in Deuteronomy 22 verse 5. And women aren't supposed to cut their hair in the 1 Corinthians 11 verse 6, 14 to 15. Seems reasonable to me. Think again. The first verse reads this way: a woman shall not wear an article proper to a man, nor shall a man put on a woman's dress, for anyone who does such things is an abomination to the Lord your God. The other verses say this: for if a woman does not have her head veiled, she may as well have her hair cut off. Does not nature itself teach you that if a man wears his hair long, it is a disgrace to him, whereas if a woman has long hair, it is her glory, because long hair has been given you a covering? Note that Deuteronomy 22 verse 5 says nothing about slacks, dresses, suits, shorts, etc. It is just says women are not to dress as a man or man as a woman. That doesn't mean their clothing may not be similar in style. If we were transported back to the ancient times, we might think men and women did dress alike, even pious Jews following the law. We might think that because there was, in fact, little difference in their clothing. Henry Daniel Robs, in daily life in time of Jesus, noted that the same words coat, cloak, and belt are used indifferently for male and for female. And yet, there must have been a difference, since the law utterly forbade men to wear women's clothes and women to wear men's. And since it is clear from the Talmud that doing so gave rise to the suspicions of homosexuality, most probably the distinction would have been in the greater fineness of the stuff used for women clothes and their more ample cut. We learn from the tractate Sabbath, so valuable for information upon custom, that women also wore ribbons made of wool and silks, shawls, Catholic customs, devotion, and disciplines, tied over their shoulder, plaited strands, and variety of ornaments whose utility seems no more evident than of some of the objects were not present. Some Catholics' Bible, in their notes, remark that Deuteronomy 22 verse 5 may be an allusion to immoral practices in Canaanite religions. What those practices were will be left to the imagination. Suffice it is to say that the whole thrust of the verse is that there is natural difference between man and woman that should be manifested in their clothing, but no particular kind of clothing is mandated. When people conclude that today's woman not wear slacks, they conclude far too much. Diba? They read far more into passage that it warrants. First, it says nothing about what kind of clothing are reserved for all time for men. What kinds are reserved for women? No Westerns today wear what the Asian Jews wore, so one could argue that all modern women and men, even those dressed conservatively, violate this biblical injunction. Maybe so, but no matter, since it was a disciplinary rule under the old law, it doesn't apply today. Similarly, for hair length, note that the claim is that women aren't supposed to cut their hair at all. Even Paul didn't go that far. He merely wrote against long-haired men and short-haired women, but that he was writing about the particular custom of his acknowledge this in practice, even if they don't in theory, because they do in fact cut their hair fairly. Disciplinary rules are taken to observe lengths, and when rules are meant for an earlier time are applied indiscriminately to a later one. This private interpretation. There is a certain consistency to it, though it is if a person concludes that the Bible is taken at a face value in all it says, interpretation becomes easy, so long as one verse is read at a time, and so long some parts of the Bible are not read at all. The common sense application of the passage is usually the right one. Passages that seems not apply to the modern world usually don't let your acquaintances convince you otherwise. If you feel stumped, repair to a good Catholic commentary and check the notes in a Catholic version of the Bible as well. Having a few references works on hand, such Daniel Rock book will help you.